Welcome to Think Global Education Services. We're going to look at the rule called comparison today. It's a very important SAT writing rule. We have done comparison in our schools, I'm pretty sure, although I'm not sure if you remember the same. So I'm going to brief you through the rules that you have already seen in your schools and what new aspect of comparison is tested in SAT. All right, let's look at comparison. Comparison rule basically looks into these two categories. One, you have to remember that on SAT, you compare same things. You don't compare random things. So it has to be people with people, things with things. So if you say, I love my teddy bear more than my boyfriend, that's incorrect because a teddy bear and a boyfriend cannot be compared. Okay, now in your, let's say in my fantasy life or in my just dreams, it's correct, but in the written English it's not. So your comparison has to be correct. That's the first very important rule, big one. Okay, so that's something SAT tests a lot on. Next is you're going to look for terms like, as, and such as. These are very, very specific. Now in your daily life, not just you, even I do, we use the term like very frequently. We use it like I just used, right? Just to give example, just to state something further. But SAT says it's very particular to use this one, and you don't use the words like and as to give example. Like and as are only used in order to compare things. Now for like, you compare it with, when you compare two nouns, you use like. When you compare two actions or two verbs, you use as. We'll clear that further with some examples over here. Okay, in order to give example, you use such as. Okay, I'm sure that this is something new to you, so please write it down somewhere. Next, we'll be tested on EST and ER words. Now what are EST and ER words? Words like best and better, words like fastest and faster. So what's the difference? EST always talks about more than two things, 3, 4, 5, 6. ER always talks about two things. Yes, so if I'm talking about two things and using EST words, it's wrong. It's wrong way of writing it, writing a sentence. All right. So comparison basically tests you on things like these. It also tests you on certain words like few or less. What's the difference between and among? What's the difference? Um, there's a lot more, like a lot of these words, but of course I can't list all those words right now. The easiest way is again to practice a lot of comparison question, and when you get them incorrect, you would know and remember that this was the mistake, and let's not make it again. Yeah, if there is any more confusion, we can meet in our one-on-one class and we can discuss the rule and all the frequently used words together. Now, for now, let's look at all these sentences and find out what does comparison do. Like, look at this one. As his father, John played baseball well. Look at the second one. Let's look at both of them together. Like his father, John is an avid baseball player. Like his father versus as his father. In both the cases, as and like, I am giving a hint that as is for actions and like is for nouns. So the further sentence in this one should talk about noun, and in this one should talk about action. As his father, John played. Played is what? The action. So that's correct. Like his father, John is. That means I'm talking about John. Is a player. So if he is a player, which is a noun, if I'm talking about John, then like is correct. So that's the usage of as and like, as I was saying. Yeah, same sentence, but the way of using as and like is quite unique to SAT, which we probably don't do in our spoken English. Next one. As many politicians, the senator did not mix work with family. Now I'm saying like many other politicians, so I'm comparing politician with senator. The senator did not do this. As, so these two are what? These two are nouns. As many politicians, can I say noun with as? No, I cannot. Now it sounds fine. As many other politicians, senator did not do this. It sounds fine, but this is wrong. It should be like many other politicians, the senator. So I'm comparing politician and senator, so it has to be like. Okay, next one. My iPod, like many of my classmates. Look at the comparison carefully. I'm saying like for iPod and classmates. Yes, I am. That's correct. You can use like over here because we are talking about noun. But in this one, as and like is not the problem. The problem is the first rule. Compare same things. Can I compare iPod and classmates? No, they're different. My iPod, like many of my classmates, apostrophe s, like many of my classmates, iPod has exciting feature. Okay, so I need iPod over here, classmates iPod. Next, my cousin and I both entered our dogs in the competition. So both of them did something, but my dog won the first prize, unlike my cousin. Unlike, so like is used for these two. Dog and cousin both are nouns, so like is correct. But my dog won. Can I compare my dog with my cousin? I mean, if you hate your cousin, you can probably use that in your spoken English language, but not in written English. My dog won the first place, unlike my cousin apostrophe s dogs. You can even say cousins. You don't have to say uh, dog. In both ways, it's correct. Next. The rules followed when playing ice hockey are quite different to field hockey. So I'm comparing ice hockey and field hockey. Well, that's how it looks that we are comparing ice hockey and field hockey. Look at it carefully. I'm not really comparing these two because here I said the rules followed. The rules followed when playing ice hockey are different, not just from field hockey, from the rules followed when playing field hockey. There are two things to consider here. One, I need rules over here before field hockey. I need rules. Second, different from, that's an idiom. The rules followed when playing ice hockey are quite different from the rules of field hockey, or from the rules followed when playing field hockey, because then it will become parallel also. Yeah. So in this line, I can take care of parallel, structure, comparison, and idiom, all the three rules together. Next one. When the comedian made fun of Chinese man, the man looked very disturbed, unlike others in the audience. Now, when you say others in the audience, that means you're comparing man with everybody, which is fine because you can compare man with everyone else. So when the comedian made fun of Chinese man, this particular man, the man, some man. So I think it's very important to make sure that we talk about the exact same man and it's not just another man. So what we have to take care here is when the comedian made fun of Chinese man, the Chinese man looked very disturbed. So not we're not talking about a man or no any random man being disturbed. We are talking about this Chinese man itself. The Chinese man looked very disturbed, unlike others in the audience. That means other, the even better way would be other men in the audience. Yeah, because we don't want to say everybody. Audience can have child, audience can have women, audience can have so many other people. Yeah, like other nationalities, unlike other men in the audience, or unlike other Chinese, yeah, men, not Chinese, because Chinese is made fun of. Yeah. Next one. The courage of Gary Pars, unlike other pilot, made him famous. So the courage made him famous, right? Or did the person himself become famous? No, the courage. So unlike other pilots is incorrect because I'm comparing courage of somebody with pilots, which is different because I'm talking about action and sorry, adjectives, and I'm talking about noun, which is wrong. The courage of Gary Parr, unlike the courage of other pilots, made him famous. Okay, so that's comparison for you. Let's do one question. I would want you to pause and do it yourself before we do it together. Okay, let's see. Unlike Martians, Pluto's inhabitants have 7 eyes. Okay, let's compare with others also. Unlike Mars, here I have Martians, here I have Mars, here I have Plutos, here I have Plutos. So Mars and Plutos, Mars and Pluto versus Mars and Plutos. So when I say apostrophe S, I'm talking about inhabitants. Unlike Martians, I'm talking about people. Yeah, over here, people. Over here, people, and over here, planet. So goes out easily. Next one, unlike the inhabitants of Mars, that means people of Mars, Plutos have 7 eyes. So that means the inhabitants of Plutos have 7 eyes. Unlike Martians, Plutos have 7 eyes. Now, Plutos doesn't have 7 eyes, so it's inhabitants. So that means these two are easily out. Now look at this one and this one, A and C. In this, I'm saying, unlike the inhabitants of Mars, so I'm very clearly saying that we're talking about inhabitants of a planet. Pluto's, when you say apostrophe S, it goes back to inhabitants by itself. Pluto's inhabitants have 7 eyes. Nothing wrong. In the original one, when you say unlike Martians, Pluto's inhabitants, that means so Martians could be people who belong to Mars, but then they're living anywhere else. So we are not very specifically saying that it's the inhabitants of Mars. We're saying unlike Martians who could be anywhere. No, they are Martians, but they are died, they're dead, like anything. They are in some other planet doing I don't know what. Yeah. So we need to take care of sentence very closely. If C doesn't exist, I can choose this one. But because C exists, which is more clearly talking about inhabitants, you will look for option C as the correct answer. Okay. So that's comparison rule for you. We have covered many rules in the previous videos. I would want you to go through all the rules as many times as possible so that you're very sure of each rule before you start doing the questions. We will definitely be solving more questions and the real-time SAT question paper in our next few videos. For today, let's keep it till here and thank you for watching video from Think Global.